Good to go? Can you hear? If I could get everybody to go ahead and kind of grab a seat. I know we're kind of behind the clock here, and I'm sure you all have a busy day ahead of you. All right, so I'm obviously, you might have seen the placard up here that it said Nancy McNally, and I'm obviously not Mayor McNally. Mayor McNally called me this morning. She's not feeling very well, so I am stepping in for her this morning. So I appreciate everybody being here this morning so that you can hear directly from our candidates for city manager. As you know, this is a very important pick, probably the most important thing that I'll get to do on council as well as my colleagues. So we very much appreciate your participation because we know this definitely impacts you just as much as it does the rest of the community, and it's great to see so many of you out here this morning. So we're going to go through a round of questions with our three candidates. I have 3 questions for them each. There's a timer in the back. They'll get 3 minutes to answer each question, and then at the end they'll be able to mingle with you folks. So we have Jennifer Phillips here from lives in the Springs, correct? Mark Freytag, who's from Wisconsin, and then we have, who has been leading the ship for us since back in October, Jody Andrews, who is our interim city manager. So with that, I'm going to mix it up from what I know that the mayor did last night, and I'm going to go ahead and start with Jennifer. And so the first question that we'd like you to answer, or thing you'd like to portray to the group here, is to describe your leadership style.
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. Delighted to be here this morning. What a beautiful community you had. I had a chance to take a nice run with my enormous dog this morning and enjoy some of the fabulous trails and open space that you have here. So thank you very much for having me with you today and for taking the time to be here. And for Anita, the one courageous person to sit in the front row. She and I are now best friends. A brief overview or describe my leadership style. So I consider myself to be a servant leader. I chose to be in public service. It was absolutely the right fit for me. I've been doing this for almost 35 years, and I've never regretted a day in it. I really believe that the difference that we can make for the communities that we serve is immeasurable. And so for me, this has just been a fabulous career, and I absolutely love being in public service. I worked really hard throughout my life and my career to build my leadership style. Early on, as a young woman, I had very low self-esteem, and that was something that I needed to overcome. For me, public speaking was the most terrifying thing I could ever imagine doing. When I was in college, I used to sign up for 22 units, go to all the classes, look at the syllabus, see which ones required a public presentation, and drop those classes, and stick only with the ones where you didn't have to make a public presentation. But I really tried to work at those things. I wanted to be a strong leader. I found out that I have a lot of the compassion and skills to do that, and so for me, leadership is really something that I've embraced and I really enjoy. I'm very values driven, as is this organization. It's one of the many things that's attracted me to this position. I have my own set of values that I've led with. They're very similar to your spirit values, and that is delivering exceptional customer service, work as a team, be safe. That safety is both physically safe in the workplace, that you have the tools and equipment to be safe, but also that you're mentally and emotionally safe in the workplace. That's very, very important to me. Innovation, it's really important that the organization knows that I will support your innovation. If something goes wrong, it's all on me, I've got your back, we'll fix it and go forward. If it goes great, you get all the credit, we move forward and we do some really great things for our community. So innovation is an incredibly important value for me. And then ethics in the workplace. I have very strong ethical values that are unwavering. It's how I lead. If you make a decision and you make it with all of your best intentions, your education, your experience, your gut, I've got your back. But if you do something unethical, if you make a decision and you don't follow a good ethical compass, quite frankly, there's no place for you in this organization. That's how strongly I feel about ethics in the workplace. So those are my 5 values: exceptional customer service, teamwork, safety, innovation, ethics in the workplace.
Jody next.
Do sound check, that okay? Just hold my mic way down, otherwise blow your eardrums. First of all, thank you for being here this morning. It's very affirming to see all of you here. It speaks volumes to City of Westminster employees that you're all here and you've taken the time to be here this morning and participate in this important decision. For me, it's very rewarding. I've been with the city for 10 years now, as many of you know. Many of you have been my colleagues for that whole time, and many of you also I consider friends. So this is a very challenging time to come before you and present myself. I hope that many of you have had the opportunity to work with me and see my leadership style. I don't know that it's textbook. I think I'm probably a very different person. Just from my background, I like to bring a common sense approach to leadership. I like to bring honesty and transparency to leadership. And I hope that you all have seen that I really like to listen and engage with the people who do the work. And that is to understand where you're coming from, what you're doing, and how you get your job done and what you need to change to be able to do that even better. I hope that you all still appreciate the all-employee webinars. I've done 7 since we started this transition in November, and the participation continues to be really high. I always want to make sure I answer your questions, so leave a lot of time for you to participate in those. The tough questions, I want to hit those head on because those are the ones that are most important to you, and I think oftentimes leaders will maybe not want to address those, especially in front of other employees, and I think it's so critical to do it the other way around. I like to try to make myself available, and I hope that you've seen also a change there with the leadership style over the past 9 months. All of our executive leadership teams are now held in your workplaces. We move through all city facilities, and if we haven't been to yours, we will come. Just let us know. And that is a really important element. I want you to feel connected to your leadership team at the city. My role as city manager, I believe, is to provide that leadership bridge between city council, the community we serve, and the employees who do all the work to make those other two groups satisfied and happy with where we're at. My style is I really try to spend a lot less time in the office. You see me probably really pushing back on meetings. I see some nodding heads. I prefer not to have very many scheduled meetings and really to use the time and put it to where it really needs to be in the moment. So go straight into challenge or opportunity areas and get those problems addressed. I would say that my deepest rewards come from working with employees. It's why I'm in public service. That direct connection between the community and local government. I've always preferred local government, and I appreciate all that you've done. That's my opinion.
Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here. My name is Mark Freytag. I'm currently the city manager of Janesville, Wisconsin, and it's great to see the turnout for this event. And it says that to me that the city workforce is engaged and interested in who that next city manager is going to be. And so it's wonderful to see you all here this morning. First and foremost, I would tell you thank you for your service to this community. And as I have not been to Westminster before. I served at Fort Carson many years ago. Spent 3 years in the state, traveled around the state. But as I drove around the community yesterday, it was very evident that this community has pride, and it's very evident to me that the city workforce is doing amazing work to serve this community. And so congratulations on that, and certainly thank you for your service. My leadership style, I describe myself as a transformational servant leader. And so transformational, I love to problem solve. I love to improve organizations and build teams. That's what my entire career has been all about. But coupled with that, a place in my heart is to serve others. And so I chose to serve the nation for 26 years in the military. Started in 1988, finished up in 2014, traveled the United States, 3 combat tours overseas, a couple tours in Europe, and a lot of travel across the globe. And so just had an amazing military career that brought me to public administration. And so you ask, how did that play out? I got selected as the garrison commander of Fort Hood, Texas. which is a city manager equivalent on a military base. And so when I retired from the military, it seemed like a perfect opportunity for me to take what I love doing at Fort Hood and bring that to Janesville, Wisconsin, and been very successful in doing that. I would tell you that I practice what's called decentralized leadership, and that is I set vision, I set expectations, and then I let the great people that we've hired to do the job that we've hired them to do. And so that's worked out well in Janesville. I'm sure it can work out well here. I do recognize that a good leader can change their leadership style. So in combat, trust me, I was directing, do this and do it now. When I'm in a neighborhood meeting, it's all about participating. And, we roll up our sleeves and we problem solve together. I prefer, frankly, guiding and empowering folks, and that's my comfort zone. But, I recognize that, that may be dependent upon the complexity of the task, maybe dependent upon the amount of time that we have, and it certainly might be dependent upon, the skill set or the experience of the team that's working the problem. But it's a pleasure to be here. I look forward to talking with you all after the formal remarks today.
So this next question, we're going to start with you, Jody, and it's a two-part question. And so the question is, how would you describe your temperament under pressure, and how will others know if you're having a bad day? That question is all Mayor McNally.
Could I get audience participation on that one? And I hope this is true, and just please start shaking your heads if you don't agree with me. In terms of my temperament under pressure, I like to think that I'm calm under fire, that I stay focused and clear. In working for 34 years in this line of work with exposure and involvement with a lot of different people, I tend to have a response to stress and conflict situations where time slows down and things get clearer. And I've heard that there's a couple different kinds of people. That's not the case for everybody, but for me, I almost tend to see things clearer and get more focus in times of stress. And that will sometimes translate into me maybe getting a little bossy and directive when we need to under fire. And I have nothing to compare to Mr. Freytag in terms of his experience, but I think it's a good analogy that he used. It's situational, and it really depends on the stressors that are in place. How can you tell if I'm having a bad day? That's where I was hoping for audience participation. But I really think when things are tough, I tend to get down to business. I probably talk a lot less. I probably get a lot more focused. What do we need to do in this situation? Let's get rolling. I see Sarah Borzer's nodding her head, on the water treatment work that we've been doing. Let's get focused. Let's keep winnowing down. Let's get that arrow point decision back to City Council. So I like to try to strip away externalities, get to what we need to focus on, and get those addressed. So you'll see me in those environments tend to get a little bit more serious, a little bit more down to business. Because most of the time, I hope you see me being highly relational, highly engaged. I try to use those same behavioral characteristics when I'm dealing with difficult situations, but sometimes times call for leadership, and you need to really be out in front. And I think in the early days of our transition, you probably saw more of that in me than maybe you had when I was deputy, where I really identified that I needed to get out in front, call it what it is, be honest about where we're at, talk about and celebrate the transitional nature of our work, and that gives us a lot of opportunities. So the other thing that you'll see even in times of stress is I'll always be that, where's the sunshine in this? Where's the opportunity? How do we find that half full glass in looking at this challenge, and almost always start to nudge us towards a positive resolution to a conflict. So I think I've just run out of time.
Go ahead and go to Mark.
Yeah, and so, I read this question and I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. And so, I would tell you my temperament under pressure. First of all, the short answer is cool, calm, and collected. And so I spent a military career where that's exactly what they were training us to do. And that was, when the chips are down and the going gets tough and things become a little chaotic, the expectation is that military leaders are going to be cool, calm, and collected, and it doesn't matter what the environment is. It can be, stateside on a military installation, or it can be downrange in a combat situation. And I will tell you that, I'm very, very satisfied with myself to be able to look back and recognize that, I'd never lost it, okay? I just haven't lost my focus. I've remained cool, calm, and collected through a variety of very, very challenging times. And so the short answer is cool, calm, and collected. And I think that, I've been able to transition that into public administration quite successfully. When I first got to Janesville, frankly, I noticed that there was some tension in my office, in the immediate office of the city manager. And I finally got them around the table, and I said, folks, what's wrong? You seem tense. And they were, they said sheepishly, well, we're afraid you're going to yell at us. And I said, why would you think that? And they said, well, that's what the military does. That's what the military is all about. And I said, well, maybe in the movies that is, maybe on Full Metal Jacket, the drill sergeant, basic training, but I said, that's not corporate everyday Army. That's just not the way it is. And so I said, I don't like getting yelled at, and I'm certainly not going to yell at you all. And so, take that stereotype and just, put it away, because that's not who I am. And so I would tell you that, we've gotten beyond that. We've got a great relationship with, that immediate office and, frankly, the city workforce. But that was something that, I had to overcome, was that, kind of stereotyped military background, and people just didn't understand. And I think that the community certainly, and the city workforce, and my office in particular, have recognized that that's not who I am. That's not how I operate. And so cool, calm, and collected. I love this next one is, when do others know that you're having a bad day? And, frankly, I get quiet because I'm trying to problem solve, because I see a challenge or a problem or an issue as an opportunity to excel. And so I'm trying to think through, how do we make the best of, how do we make lemonade out of these lemons? And so I get a little bit quiet. Okay, that's just my reality. But I'm just trying to process through and figure out the best solution set. And then I would share with you, as my wife tells me, that when I do get mad, my ears get red. So watch out, okay?
Yeah, this is a great question. I was surprised because is there pressure in this job? It is. It's a challenging job, and it's not for everybody. And that's okay. There's a few of us who just get it in our DNA, and we just know that this is the right path for us. And the pressures can come at us from all different places. I would consider myself generally a yellow, if you've been through some of those color things. I'm a very communicative person. I like to work with my team. That's why teamwork is one of my values. Process through things, discuss things, do things collaboratively. But under pressure, I turn into a red. So I take more charge. I'm able to make decisions quickly and get things done. So I think that's sort of my style. I still try to do it collaboratively, but I also recognize that I am the person in charge, and I need to make those decisions. I'm not one of those individuals that's the roadblock, that's unable to make decisions and sits and does the hand-wringing and can't quite figure out what to do under pressure. We get things done, and pressures certainly today are even exponentially harder and different and come from many different places. And that's why the teamwork, quite frankly, is so important to me, is to know that I have a great team around me, a great team with me, and I can make it through anything when I work with great people, which is one of the things that really interests me about Westminster. How do people know when I'm having a bad day? I tend to do something called turtling. I pull in. It's a protective thing for me. And I actually have a pendant that I bought of a turtle to remind me on maybe some really hard days that I wear it, just to remind myself to, stay open, stay open. But that's sort of what I tend to do, and I can physically feel it even a little bit. a firefighter told me once when I was, because I used to walk to work and we were having some challenges. He says, I see you walk to work sometimes and you look like you carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. I'm like, okay, shoulders back when you walk to work. But that's what I tend to do. And quite frankly, one of the best things I can do is walk out of my office, walk into the break room, walk outside, chat with a couple of wonderful staff, and it turns it right around. And I know why I'm there, and I know what I'm doing, and I can go back and accomplish anything with the team that I'm working with.
So this is going to be our final question, and we're going to start with Mark, and then you'll each get a chance to do a summary closing statement. So the third question we have for you is, how do you bring the team of all employees together to work in the same direction?
Yeah, and so, frankly, this comes back to leadership and effective leadership. And so, as a young cadet at West Point, my first leadership class, they asked us, what's the definition of leadership? And, we had a great discussion, and it came back to inspiring others to do what they would normally not otherwise do, all while building the team. And so for me, that's been how I've led organizations for the past 34 years, whether in the military or in public administration in Janesville. And it's all about the team and what the team does to accomplish whatever that mission or that task is that needs to be done. And how do I do that? I do that by being a role model. I do that by setting high standards. I do that by holding people accountable. I do that by giving trust and then recognizing that over time, people will then in turn trust me. I do spend a lot of time cheerleading my team and telling them how proud I am of them and how excited I am for the great work that they do for the city. But it really comes down to this. When I entered the city of Janesville, some of the feedback that I've gotten, we've got 4 employee work groups. We have 3 unions, and we have the rest of the workforce are called administrative employees. And the administrative employees, were concerned that, the city had a history of essentially, meeting all the demands of the 3 unions, but on the backs of the administrative employees. And I said, okay, we got to balance that. We got to make sure that we're taking care of all of our employees at the same level, financially, benefits-wise, time off, things like that. And so we worked on that, and we found a nice, happy medium for that. The other thing that we were able to do is that, we had some employees that thought that, frankly, their job was more important to the mission of municipal services than other employees. And I said, doesn't work like that. This is a team. Everybody is important. Everybody provides to us providing municipal core services for the city of Janesville. And that message has resonated. And, for those that were a little more hard-headed, I said, well, guess what? You can't do your job unless IT's doing theirs, HR's doing theirs, finance is doing theirs. And so it's kind of like a football team, and you may be the quarterback of the team, or you may be the star running back or the star wide receiver, but if that offensive line isn't blocking for you, you're never going to get the ball, right? And so it takes everybody working together for that common mission, that common purpose, and that is to provide core municipal services to this community. And that's resonated, and we've got a great team, and I'm very, very proud of what they've accomplished. But, building the team, I refer to them as the City of Janesville team, and they embrace that. Okay?
Well, I think this is one of the joys of the job, and you hear it in Mark's voice. I know you're going to hear it in Jody's voice. I mean, to be with all of you and to be part of a team is, quite frankly, that's what brings us to public service. I was really surprised that in the survey, Jody brought it up last night with the community, that there wasn't trust in how you're delivering services to your community. And I don't believe that. I really think that's a reflection of how people feel in America and how they're feeling about other governments. I really don't believe that that's how they feel about local government and all of you, because I know at the local government level, you put your heart and soul into the work that you do. You chose to be here. This isn't by happenstance. We love this work. And so I think that is the core that brings us together. We have a common bond immediately that we want to be here and we want to serve the citizens of Westminster. We want to do a great job. We want to go home and feel great about what we do and see the impacts that we have in our community. And so starting with that passion that we share together, and then working with the values, whether it's the Spirit values, which are great, whether it's my leadership values of exceptional customer service, teamwork, safety, innovation, and ethics in the workplace, we build that bond. We all know what we expect from each other, and we enjoy what we do. This is a really friendly place. When you came in, you could hear the conversation and the laughter and how warm it was in here. That's what builds team, and that we work together and that we enjoy what we do and we enjoy each other. We face tough things. The second question, how do we face stress and how do we deal with stress and pressures? We do it together. And I think that's really what builds team. And I've really enjoyed it. I've built phenomenal teams in my career. It's one of my greatest joys, and my teams will tell you that it's one of my greatest legacies that I leave is I'm able to hire really talented people. Quite frankly, great people want to work with great people. You know which cities are great. This is one of the great cities. And the greater we get, the greater the people that are going to come join us and make this even a better place to be. And I would love to be a part of that.
All right, and thank you for that final question, Mayor Pro Tem. I think, again, it ties back to some of the earlier things that we were talking about. I think the key to bringing employees together to work in the same direction, first and foremost, is to be present, to really be engaged and present with all of you and all of the leaders in your departments. Then I think most importantly is to communicate and support a shared vision. I think it's been too easy when times get chaotic or we're in a period of transition to lose sight of why we're here and what we're doing. And I think one of the key roles of leadership is that people need to understand, I need to understand where I'm going. What's the North Star? You don't need a constellation of choices in terms of where you think the city's going or what we're working on this week, this month, or this hour. You really need to have an understanding and a belief and a buy-in to our shared vision. And that can only come from the leadership level. When leaders are present, they listen, and then they act on what you tell them. You are all gold mines of information and roadmaps to our community and providing the best services possible. And I think when we don't listen to you, we've just lost half of our information, half of our really our intelligence as an organization. So, and I think we drifted from that. I don't think we listened very well to our employees and included you in key decisions and sought your input. So I think that's the key to having all of you go in the same direction, is that you understand the direction, where are we going, and how do we get there. I think another thing that's really critical is honesty from your leadership. You need to understand that we get it, and we're not going to sugarcoat things. I think you do a lot better, we all do a lot better, when we understand what the challenges are, what the limitations are, and what our threats are. And if we're openly talking about those, we're best able as a group to come together again and go in the same direction. I would also say that a big focus of shared vision is making sure that you feel valued in the work that you do and recognized. And I hope that you see with the changes that I've been rolling out with the leadership team around additional leave, compensating and catching up on step adjustments through COVID. Your next paycheck will have no medical premiums on it. That should be a recognition for you. That's all part of signaling to you that you have strong leadership. We're going in the same direction. You're valued, and you're part of a team that's all pulling together and going to the same place. And again, the last thing I would say is making sure when we hear you that we act on what you've said. So it was great to hear what you said. Thank you. No, got to act on it. So thank you for the time.
So lastly, we're going to give you an opportunity each to make a closing statement and share anything that you feel you would want the employee base to know. We're going to start with Jennifer, go to Jody, and then finish with Mark.
Well, gosh, it's just been great to be here. Had a lovely time with the community last night. I've come to Westminster multiple times, and It's just a really lovely community. There's a lot of challenges here. You've had some hard years. There's been a lot of transition. There's been a lot of change. And I think this organization's ready to get back to having the vision, moving forward, being together, having some caretaking, and really being the family that I know that you are. And I would really love to be a part of that. I think that I bring a lot. I have 35 years of experience. It's very diversified. Experience in solid waste and recycling, experience in transportation. I actually ran one of the largest animal shelters in the United States for 5 years. City management experience in large cities, small cities. And I think that I can bring a lot to this organization and be your leader, be your friend, be your colleague, and hopefully be part of your family. Thank you.
Well, the first thing I would like to say as my introduction to my closing comments is thank you again to all of you. When I arrived this morning, it was just wonderful to come in with you and have a chance to see. It was really a wave of people I've worked with for 10 years walking in, and that was the strongest thing. So thank you for being here this morning. My greatest reward in this job is to be able to call each and every one of you a colleague and many of you friends. You're all committed public servants who go above and beyond every day, and that's why I love this work. My words this morning are inadequate to express my gratitude to all of you. You're the reason that I'm sitting in this chair today, and I want to be very frank about that. Thank you for letting me be in front, but thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here. I said last night to the community panel, the last 9 months to me has been a gift to be able to contribute my leadership and to be able to, I hope, contribute to your work, to your careers in a way that makes sense and has helped us get through this transition phase. I hope you feel a strong sense of optimism moving forward from this point, whether I'm your city manager or not. Know that your input is valued, that you are making a difference. You have made a huge difference for us. And this city would not be where it was last year. It would not be where it is today. It wouldn't be where it's going to be next year without all of you. And don't ever doubt that. On those tough days when you're pulling those double shifts, when you're short-staffed, just know that you're making a huge difference. And I believe the reason the three of us are up here is because we get that, and that's why we want to be in this position, to be able to have the honor of representing and serving you, supporting you to do the work that we do. The 117,000 people out there that we serve, they also appreciate our work. We looked through the community survey together, and we had an outstanding response in terms of our community satisfaction with the City of Westminster. 83% of the people who had an opinion weighed in very positively about our community, and you all know that you contribute directly to that. You make it happen. You are the city to them, and that is the most important thing that you ought to hold dear, no matter how this competition goes. So thank you for your support over the last 10 years, and particularly over the last 9 months. You have made a massive difference in this city, and you have stabilized us, you've served, and you've done an outstanding job. And I'm just full of appreciation and gratitude for everything you've done. Thank you.
All right, folks. Well, I would tell you that, over the past, 2 months, I've done a lot of research about this community. And have enjoyed learning about Westminster and Front Range communities, and then coming to yesterday and being able to drive the city and kind of experience the city. And I would just tell you that you've got a lot of great things happening here. And oh, by the way, you have this amazing environmental beautiful setting that you get to not only live in but work in too. What a good deal. And then sometimes maybe even play. And so it's just an amazing, kind of hits all all the cylinders that need to be hit on a great community. And so it's been a pleasure to learn about Westminster. You've got 3 great candidates here. There are no wrong decisions for the council, but it's going to be a tough decision for the council to find the next leader for this community. I would tell you that, my entire career has been about leading organizations, and I've moved through more organizations than you can imagine. The military keeps you moving about every 2 years, and oh, by the way, during that 2 years, you might have a couple assignments at that duty station that you're moving through. And so, a lot of experiences with, different people, different styles, different personalities. And what I would tell you is that, in that, 34 years of professional service, I've had an opportunity to learn to adapt to those new environments and to work with those new teams. And frankly, I'm excited for the opportunity to come lead the City of Westminster team and work with you all and deliver amazing services, programs, and infrastructure to this community and continue that legacy of service to Westminster. And so it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to talk with you afterwards. I think we've got some time for that. Really want to, just wrap up and say thank you again for all that you do for this amazing community. You do it well. You should be proud, and look forward to whatever the situation is and how this outcome plays out. You all are going to be in good hands. I'm very, very confident of that.
So first, before we close out, I want to take the opportunity, because I don't want to miss it with the entire employee base, or most of you here today, to say how much, on behalf of the mayor and the city council, we appreciate everything that you do for this organization and the community. You heard it from every single candidate. The city wouldn't be what it is without you folks. So that means a lot to the city council and the community. So I didn't want to miss the opportunity to thank you for what you do. And lastly, we do have a hard decision in ahead of us. And so all of this input that we're getting from you and the community is all stuff that the council is going to weigh as we go through what is going to be a difficult decision. And lastly, if you would please join me in thanking our 3 candidates. And now feel free to mingle and ask questions.